For the past few days, Europe was under a zonal flow weather pattern, which basically means storm systems followed a nearly straight path along latitudinal lines. Since Sunday, August 11th, this began to change as an intensifying Atlantic storm moved in from the south and west. Warm air will continue to surge north out ahead of it, accompanied by multiple rounds of severe storms reaching as far north as Germany and the Benelux countries, before those impacts slowly encroach further east as the week progresses. I have all the latest information on this situation coming up in this video, so with that being said, please enjoy Chapter 1. Let's get started with the latest tropical update as of early Monday morning. We're approaching the middle of August, so this naturally means that tropical activity will increase as the peak of hurricane season approaches. Our main story is potential tropical cyclone number 5, located several hundred miles east of the Greater Antilles. Development into a tropical depression or storm is nearly certain within the next 48 hours, so these islands should be aware of the growing risk of rain and wind impacts. By the latter half of the week, model guidance agrees that a northward curve will occur, so the United States will most likely escape this system. Even still, Bermuda Island and Atlantic Canada still has a risk of being impacted, so those places should still monitor the progress of this disturbance. An impressive lightning picture was submitted by Keon Creations for today's featured photo from Minnesota, USA on August 3rd, 2024. If you would like to submit your own picture for the next photo of the day, or to simply share with other weather enthusiasts, consider joining the Alpha WX Discord server, which is linked below. Tropical Storm Debby is today's candidate for extreme weather events worldwide due to the severe impacts it brought across the eastern United States. It made landfall as a Category 1 hurricane on Florida's Big Bend region on Monday, August 5th, so this of course meant wind, rain, and storm surge impacts along the coast. Once it moved inland, extreme rainfall quickly became the main hazard. After a brief trip over southeast Georgia, it moved back over water on Tuesday evening, before looping back around and hitting South Carolina late Wednesday into early Thursday. Throughout the rest of the week, flooding remained a significant concern as Debby moved through the mid-Atlantic and northeast. After the event was all said and done, Debby produced widespread significant rainfall across the eastern seaboard, resulting in areas of major to life-threatening flooding, as well as producing multiple tornadoes from Florida to the mid-Atlantic. It's been quite stormy in the UK and Ireland since yesterday, in association with this Atlantic system pulling in some warm and unstable air. Another system is following right behind it, and this one should begin impacting Ireland by late tonight and early Tuesday, mainly with some rain. Outside of the British Isles, the intrusion of these low-pressure systems has changed the overall weather pattern across Europe, allowing very warm air to move north, occupying a large part of Western Europe. Within this area of very warm weather, severe thunderstorms are expected, and the threat has already begun. Multiple rounds of severe storms can then be expected anywhere from Spain and France to Germany going forward, and over parts of the Nordic and Baltic countries into Russia. A large area of mainly non-severe storms and downpours will progress south and east, keeping temperatures at least slightly below average. Once we get into the second half of the week, this activity in the north and east will gradually move away and weaken, making way for the warmer weather in the south and west to move in. As this occurs, I would also expect the main severe thunderstorm threat to head east, becoming more focused around Italy, Central Europe, and the Balkans. In summary, we're basically going to see the entire weather pattern flip around just within the next week. This is my extended severe weather outlook through early Sunday, and there are several things I'd like to point out. Firstly, I outlined the orange area over England because this threat is only valid for today, Monday, August 12th. It's also worth noting that I introduced a large red area for this period, highlighting where I think the most severe weather will occur, with even an elevated risk of significant severe weather. Lastly, the orange area extends as far east as Romania and western Ukraine, where severe thunderstorm activity is expected, especially by midweek and beyond. Rainfall totals throughout the next 5 days for most of Europe appear similar to what we've seen in recent weeks, but there's actually one spot I'm watching very closely. This brings us down to Spain's Mediterranean coast and the Balearic Islands. If you recall, this region was actually included in the red zone on my severe weather map. Thunderstorms are notorious for causing flash floods since they can dump massive amounts of rain over a short period. So, when we take into consideration the fact that many of these storms could be severe, with multiple rounds of storms also not out of the question, I'm quite concerned about the risk of flooding for this region. For many other parts of mainland Europe, thunderstorms and isolated showers will be the main source of rainfall, and once again, don't take this map at face value, since many places may end up with more rain compared to what this map is showing. Then for Ireland, Scotland, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden, the pests from the west will continue to be a source of constant rain, which may add up quite a bit, especially along the higher terrain. Like I mentioned earlier in this discussion, this week will be one filled with action, especially as the pattern begins to change once again, so this could make it tricky to pinpoint the overall precipitation and temperature trends just by looking at the weather models. Because of this, I created some maps to help you see this pattern better, so let's look at my temperature map valid through next Sunday. You can see how most of Europe will remain under above average temperatures for most of this week, while parts of Russia, Turkey, Iceland, and Norway are leaning below average. The hot spots for well above average temperatures, quite literally, will be the Iberian Peninsula, parts of northern Africa, far northern portions of the Nordic countries, and of course this large area from eastern France to the Balkans. The precipitation trend will be a little bit more vague, but overall, models are pointing towards wetter than average conditions further north, while it's drier further south, especially in some of the Balkan countries and Georgia. I think that's going to wrap it up for today's discussion, so thank you all for tuning in once again. As always, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing with that notification bell turned on so you never miss the next forecast. Also, make sure you check the community tab from time to time, since I frequently post supplementary updates, especially as dangerous weather events unfold. If you have any further questions, I'd be happy to respond to them as soon as I can. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next one.